ancient boulder slept through the demise of the dinosaurs, the evolution of the Earth's crust, through countless springs, summers, autumns and winters. Then came the Ice Age. And finally, nature pushed it to form the hill it is today. Suddenly, one day, Sleeping Rock's ancient dream was awakened by the sound of logging. Humans were chopping down the only crooked tree above his head. He thought he could go back to sleep after he left. He was surprised to hear the sound of lumberjacks working behind him. He had to get up and go deeper into the forest. He lay down next to his mate and slept on. But mankind was moving too fast. No sooner had he closed his eyes than he was pulled down. Then he was taken by craftsmen on a wooden cart to a mill. And then the stonemasons polished and corrected him, and made into a round millstone. The sleeping stone worked in silence for years. The river outside the mill has dried up. He had to keep working. Hundreds of years have passed since then. Outside the window, things have changed dramatically. Soldiers stormed the mill with bayonets. The general thought the sleeping stones were good. He could take it back and make it into a combat weapon. There was a loud bang. The body of the sleeping stone was completely crushed. Then it was taken to the factory to be made into a cannonball, to take part in the war at sea. Under the constant attack of advanced weapons, they quickly won the war, and Sleeping Stone's body became even smaller. He was just about to go to sleep. The force of the sea swept him up again. Sleeping Stone desperately grabbed his companion's head, but he's too small now. He's washed up on the shore. He didn't like being immersed in the sea, so he made his way to the countryside in silence. By now, mankind had entered the age of steam. Farming machines ran on the ground and fighter planes flew in the sky. There weren't many places left for Sleeping Stone to sleep in peace. Little Sleeping Stone rubbed his eyes and slept on a human glove. But before he could sleep, he was discovered by an archaeologist, looking at the fossilized trilobite on his back, and immediately sent it to the local museum. The workers watched. The Sleeping Stone looks at the scene around it. It's as if the memories of the past are right in front of his eyes. But everything has changed. Just when Sleeping Stone was feeling sorry for himself, a bare child suddenly pounced on the glass. He fell off the wooden frame. It rolled out of the curtain behind him and fell into the rubbish bin. The cleaner saw that no one was behind him, so he didn't care. Then he dumped him on the back street. The Sleeping Stone was kicked as a ball by a man who had fallen out of love. The man threw the rock at his enemy's face to spite him. He rolled down a steep hill all the way to the main street of the city. There's no place to hide from the passing cars. After grinding through the gears, he was thrown into the center of the road once again. Sleeping Stone was so scared, he grabbed a scrap of paper to cover his eyes, but he was greeted by a giant road roller. After a moment's trembling, Sleeping Stone's body became even smaller. On the contrary, mankind has become more and more advanced. The caretaker swept Sleeping Stone onto the beach. He struggled to get up. Then he picked up the rock next to him and used it as a pillow. In the blink of an eye, the place was transformed into a seaside town. Sleeping Stone was taken to a processing plant, such a huge steel factory, and not a soul in sight. And stones like Sleeping Stone are transported on a conveyor belt, automatically transported to a huge melting pot. By the time he opens his eyes, he's turned into a piece of steel. The technicians used high technology to build a space shuttle. The Sleeping Stone is one of the small parts. When the commander pressed the final button to launch the shuttle, the Sleeping Stone was launched into outer space in a flash. After an impact, the shuttle changed direction. The sheer speed of the ship melted the shell. Finally, the Sleeping Rock crashed into another planet. After millions of years, this place has changed forever. It's like turning back the clock. He's back to the way he was in the beginning, and he went from nothing to nothing in his life.